Oh, I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. We're doing like 9 things. All right, so I didn't pull the banner away. Welcome to Soccer is in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente at KP Georgia on all the social medias. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you. It is the beginning of championship week. Matches being played the next 4 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 separate sites. It is McEachern, it is Duluth, it is 5-Star in Macon. When it comes to the official GHSA Soccer Championships, we've got action going on today, Class A, D1, and D2. We're going to catch up with some of the voices from the week all week long. Monday, Tuesday, batting leadoff. Since we are in a no-dilly, no-dally zone, it's our buddy Matteen Rad. Dream, welcome.
John, it's finally, it's a pleasure to finally be on here with you.
Well, I mean, it's I'm glad that after all the time where we see each other in public, but we're not on the air, you, sir, get to be very, very busy. And with Class A, D1, and D2, you and Justin Hanover get to head over to McEachern for some really cool storylines. I asked coaches this question, so now I'm going to ask you this question. What has study hall been like for you as you get ready for Social Circle Paideia and Paideia Atlanta International?
Well, extremely eye-opening. The level of talent that is in this class, maybe people will scoff and think, oh, Class A, and they have certain preconceptions about what that class means. Don't get it twisted. The talent that is here at this level is huge, and it really starts with the coaches. You could take a look at David Dwyer for Paideia. He's looking for his 5th championship in 10 years. You could take a look at the head coach on the Atlanta International side, John Ward. He's an ex-Barbados international, an alumnus of Oglethorpe University, a great program that they have there. Then on the women's side, it's something that I've really never seen before. You have Social Circle, Heather Richardson, who is a former All-American at Presbyterian and got to learn under a great head coach under her time there, who just retired this last year after 35 years at Presbyterian. And then Brittany Jones, a high school profile that you really don't see all that often at all. She's a former D2 head coach. She's a former assistant coach at the D1 level at her alumnus Stetson. I mean, these are 2 coaches, really 4 coaches across boys and girls who just have elite resumes all across the board.
And we'll take it a matchup at a time. Start things off with Social Circle and Paideia. And we caught up with Coach Richardson on the show yesterday. And you have one of the most prolific goal scorers that, in lower classifications, I know we kind of gravitate to prolific scorers, but Social Circle definitely has someone where if you and I were to be calling a match on the TV side, it's like, okay, title card comes up, Social Circle versus Paideia. We come to the booth, it's you, it's me, we say hi to each other, we shake hands, we nod to the crowd, and then the instantaneous player to watch is someone who is pushing 60 goals on the season for Social Circle.
Peyton Brooks, man, I don't know if your conversation with Coach Richardson kind of ended up the same as mine. I brought up Peyton's name, and as soon as I did, Coach Richardson started to well up a little bit. She was brought to tears, and it's because their connection isn't just a Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan type, even though this might be the last dance. This is a connection that goes back years and years and years because Coach Richardson is actually family friends with the Brookses. And Peyton Brooks, 60 goals this year, 200 goals and plus in her career is incredible. She'll be playing at Truett McConnell next year. But one of the most fascinating stories that Coach Richardson told me, she said, I knew her whole life. She comes in freshman year. She can't play with her left foot at all. And I said, Peyton, look, if you're going to be on this team, you've got to be able to be versatile with your feet. Next thing you know, she has a goal in her backyard, still has a goal in that backyard to this day, and she scored 200 plus goals for the Redskins since then.
When you look at those numbers, you're like, okay, we know we've got to focus on her, but then you've got two other players for Social Circle that are double-digit goals, double-digit assists. I mean, you've got a team that, yes, while Peyton has scored more than 50% of the goals, this is not just her as they go into this matchup today.
No, it's not. You have Macy Williams, who I was told is just deep down a true competitor. She was asked actually by Coach Richardson coming into the freshman year, "Hey, Macy, have you ever really played soccer before?" She said, "No, Coach, I haven't really." She was just that elite of an athlete that she was able to make that jump to that next level with really no qualms whatsoever. And then Faith Young was someone that Coach Richardson said, she reminds me a lot of myself at that time. She's a playmaker. Coach Richardson played as an attacking midfielder in college, and she's someone who's going to be, a connector, even though the fact that she was more of a 6, more of a defensive mid in her more underclassmen days. So Faith Young is also going to be someone to look for, a huge trifecta, not to mention Gentry Mobley, a sophomore, starting between the sticks for Social Circle tonight.
And at the same time, we sit there and we focus on the seniors, but you've dropped through a couple of juniors that are going to be there, some underclassmen that are going to be making impacts. So when you think that Social Circle might just be kind of hanging out and it's like, yeah, they're chasing after another one, it's not just it is reloading. It is not rebuilding, although both might be happening at the same time out there.
These are two teams that are firing on all cylinders right now. Look, Paideia was in the final last year. They're going to be they're chomping at the bit to try and get that ring once again. Social Circle lost to Paideia in the semifinals last year. They want some revenge, but that's also a team that's just 2 years removed from their own championship.
On the Paideia side of things, 3.14159. It's all about the Pythons and how they do their math. What has study hall been like getting ready for Paideia on the girls' side for you?
It's easy to circle a player and then kind of focus all your attentions on them just because of how different of a profile they are. And when you look at Paideia, you look at Eva Jean Young. We're talking about 2 elite strikers against 2 high-power offenses going up against one another in Paideia and Social Circle. For Paideia, Eva Jean Young leading the line, despite the fact, get this, John, she will be leaving high school, graduating in May this month, to go and be in the academy for Sporting Club de Portugal as a goalkeeper. Now, mind you, she's had multiple conversations with her head coach before. She says, look, I have a great sophomore goalkeeper that I could put there in Claire Patterson, but, I need your attacking prowess, despite the fact that you're going to be trying to make a career out of being a goalkeeper. What has she done since then? She leads the team in scoring. And she's going to be the one to watch tonight against Social Circle.
No doubt about it. Let's flip to the boys' side. Half hour after the completion of the girls' match, Paideia chasing after the daily double out at McEachern. On the boys' side, what are you anticipating from Paideia?
Exactly what they do most. They're going to try to win. This is a team that's looking for their 5th championship in 11 years. An elite program that's been put together over there by David Dwyer. His keys when talking to us was trying to match Atlanta International's energy and intensity. We talked a little bit about trying to get revenge on the girls' side. There's going to be some of that on the boys' side, too. It was a crushing defeat for Atlanta International last year as they went down in penalties against the Pythons. So you better believe, as my little cat here, Jasper, tries to make an appearance.
Hey, so where's Jasper? What does Jasper think? What's the handicapping with Jasper?
He's playing very coy on the subject. And, he, as much as I have tried to teach him about all of the happenings going on tonight, he doesn't really have much of an opinion. But
man,
a big matchup tonight.
No doubt about it. And it's fun to see all of these different, from a geographic standpoint for me. To see, while yes, I know that we gravitate toward Paideia and Atlanta International inside the perimeter, to see a Social Circle make their way to the last game of the year and to do it continually. All they got to do is hit I-20 and they got to go from one end to the other and come up Thornton Road and get off at Macklin and everything's cool. What kind of a crowd are you anticipating from the feedback that you've been getting from coaches? I know that the 5 o'clock might be a little tough considering traffic. We all know about traffic in the Atlanta area. What kind of crowd are you anticipating out there at Cantrell?
John, I've anticipated and I've done similar matchups before where you have maybe teams that are well outside of the perimeter. I've done a Ringgold against a Harlem. I've done a Mount Perrin against a North Cobb Christian. There's certain games that when you look at it, you've got to tip your hats off to these small towns that are out there, because this is the one high school they have. All they have is Social Circle High School in Social Circle, Georgia. They're going to come out for their people. And mind you, look, Paideia has 2 games going on tonight. They're going to come out and show up for their people. But when you're talking about a multitude of private schools in Atlanta compared to, a public school out there in Social Circle, I'm really expecting the Redskin fans to come out tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like. We talk about rankings and everything nationally. This is something that kind of flew below the radar until you start doing your research on it. Atlanta International ranked 11th in the country in the Max Preps poll, number 5 in the state of Georgia. And I think a lot of times the lower numbered classifications, and I mean that in the sense of, 1 and 2A, they kind of fly below the radar a little bit when it comes to just sitting there and you're trying to recognize what's going on. Everybody gravitates towards 7A, 6A, et cetera. You got a Class A team in Atlanta International ranked number 11 in the country in the Max Preps poll. This is something that you cannot ignore.
And I feel like getting this ring is going to help prove a lot of what they've tried to prove this year. Mind you, they're 2-time state champs. They won the single A in 2015 and they won the A private in 2022. But now we're stepping into this new class as of last year, Class A Division I. And I think they're really going to try to make a statement with their play in this game. And I think they're going to show it all out on the pitch. A lot of their success has to do with a guy named Finn Jacobson, who I'm looking forward to not just seeing tonight, but for years to come. He's playing in his 4th straight final, has scored 51 goals this season, which is a school record for Atlanta International. But I'm going to be able to get to watch the Class A boys 2023 Player of the Year even more, because he'll be playing next year for Emory University under head coach Corey Griner.
Little D3 UAA love. I see how this works.
I'm a D3 rep through and through, John. You know that by now.
I see how this plays. Dream, it's great to catch up with you, my friend. One more time on the promo. It is Class A D1 girls and boys, 5 o'clock, Social Circle Paideia, 30 minutes after the completion. I'll say 30. They might shave the clock. Who knows? You've just got to be on the ready. It is you and Justin Hanover on the call, 7:30 Paideia, Atlanta International at McEachern on the NFHS Network. Matteen Rad, great to catch up with you, Dream. We'll catch up with you tomorrow and get your recap. Go get some lunch, my friend, because you've worked out and you put in a workout here on the show.
Love you, John, always.
Be good, my friend, and we will catch up with Matteen tomorrow. Luke Winstel coming up in the batting order. He's batting next. Luke is going to be down in Macon at 5-star with Jessica Charman, and it is going to be Aquinas and Lake Oconee Academy on the girls' side. Atkinson County and GMC on the boys' side. We caught up with head coach Bobby Jaworski yesterday. And for those of you that might have missed it, we caught up with athletic director Carl McGowan from Atkinson County. And that was on the post-game show when we were doing soccer live on Friday night with North Atlanta and River Ridge from River Ridge. So Atco got the win on Friday, and in the post-game show, we caught up with Coach McGowan to find out what's going on down there in Pearson. And it's been fun to see how, both on the boys and the girls side, how Atkinson County has charged their way through, and they've improved over the last handful of seasons. You're seeing deep runs on the boys and the girls side from Atco as we've gone. And so, as promised, we call it a tease here in the business. It's time to drop in and catch up with our buddy Luke Winstel. Luke comes in now. See, Luke, we had Matteen Rad, who's going to be half of the crew at McEachern. We've got you, who are going to be half the crew down at 5-star. Welcome to the live, day 1 of 2 for you. What's going on?
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on. How are you?
Doing all right. Last time that you were on, you were not on this continent. And so to have you a little closer where we can talk about stuff going on here when it comes to the finals, what has study hall been like for you getting ready for Aquinas Lake Oconee Academy and Atkinson County and GMC?
Yeah, one of the best parts for me is now in Macon, covering these games since 2021, we get kind of similar classifications. So now I've gotten to where there's people at local media outlets that I run into or coaches that I've talked to before. So now a lot of the process for me is gone just getting the primary sources, as we like to do, of who's seen this team, who's seen them more than I have, who can get me up to speed. So talking to a few local news reporters, talking to some of the coaches and getting in touch, doing the 6 degrees of separation until you find somebody that really knows the squad well, and then putting together the spotting boards, as you know, and working with a couple of great color commentators, Jessica Charman and Madison Cruz, to get everything settled in terms of how we want to approach things, what we want to lead a broadcast with, what do we really care about most about these teams. So those are the things for me in the prep process that we've really highlighted over the past couple of days.
All right, we'll take it a matchup at a time, and we'll start with your early one at 5 o'clock, and it is Aquinas and Lake Oconee Academy. Everybody has kind of spot shadowed Lake Oconee Academy, top team in the class, and they had the one blemish with Lincoln County and Will Homskis's bunch early in the season, but they are number one for a reason. They've made it to the last match of the year. Aquinas comes in through the left-hand side of the bracket, and it's Aquinas and Lake Oconee Academy. What's study hall been like for you with these two?
Yeah, with these teams, for Aquinas, for me, I'm looking at defensively. Both teams have strong defenses, 8+ shutouts on the season. And then, of course, number 1 and 2 for me with Aquinas, they're coming in just a little bit hotter, averaging about 5 goals per game over the past 6 games, plus 10 in the goal differential in the playoffs. So some of those numbers have been favorable. They do have one of their key players out, so that's something, or Lake Oconee has a key player out, so that's something that benefits Aquinas here. And, of course, for Lake Oconee Academy, that's where I was talking to some of the local news reporters like Lance McCurley and Will Morrison, who is one of my coworkers at a different outlet, and talking to them about the squad. And we heard from Savannah Souls, the assistant coach last night, a Georgia grad. So always fun talking to a fellow UGA or former UGA student.
Yeah,
so
I see how
little
this
plug there.
Uh-huh.
I figured when I saw UGA, I knew she'd come through with a good interview for us. And we got all this detailed information. But the thing to me with Lake Oconee Academy, they say they're a defensive-minded team. They pride themselves on that. So to me, when I look at those two things, I'm looking at a little bit of a lower scoring matchup, maybe lower than you'd originally anticipate. So it's an interesting game. Of course, with the teams having already played this season, that's something that you look at and say, okay, it's hard to beat a team twice, but also 3-2 decision earlier in the season that Aquinas won back on March 26th. And taking a look at that with Lake Oconee missing one of their star players, you start to say, okay, on paper, maybe Aquinas looks a touch ahead right now, but it's not played on paper. So to me, this is going to be a really interesting game. It's one where we have a couple of 10+ goal scorers and some people that really can provide the star power to pay off late in these games.
Yeah, Aquinas coming out of the upper left-hand side of the bracket. They got the first round bye as Team 2 out of Area 3, working their way through no problem with Mount Zion Carroll. They distanced themselves out in that one. Then to get out of upper left, they go to Portal and get a big win there against the Portal Panthers. And then they were really tested to get out of the left-hand bracket. Towns County, which has done wonders up there the last handful of seasons, took a while for that one to happen. Was there any talk about, any idea about recovery or anything like that on the quick turn, going from a big win against Portal, then the grinder with Towns County, and now you're going up against the top team in the class with Lake Oconee? How are they physically? Any ideas?
Yeah, the thing to me that you get from the coaches is sometimes the cliche of like, well, it's always this way in the playoffs. If we always have this kind of quick turn from semi to state game, and that's something that I think obviously these teams are not on full rest. They're not in the ideal situation of maybe a 6-day, 7-day rest that they would love to see. So I got more of the, there's no excuses here. This is the type of thing where with these two programs, well coached, well disciplined, they're going to come out and just say, yeah, it's not the way you want it to be. You're not on a week's rest, but that's how it is in the GHSA. We've seen this for years now of just the quick turnaround. And as soon as you enter the bracket, you just know you have to be mentally ready. Hey, this is just what it for the girls and the boys, and especially here with the AD2 of that really quick turnaround immediately.
No doubt. Lake Oconee got their rematch with Lincoln County, shut out Lincoln County. It was a 2-0 game at one point. Will Homskis knew in round number 2 that you were going to have to chase the game at that point. You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. You end up losing 4-0 as you're chasing the match. Then no problem with Wheeler County. The Bulldogs came from Alamo to get the win there 6-1. And then Atlanta Classical, a traditional power, making another deep run out of the low right part of the bracket, a shutout there as well. So Aquinas and Lake Oconee Academy at 5 o'clock this afternoon at 5-star. Half hour after the completion of said match. Like I said, I anticipate it's half hour after the completion. Listed at 7:30. It is Atkinson County and GMC. We caught up with Bobby Jaworski yesterday and got the skinny on GMC. Fantastic story out of Atkinson County, where they've been a Region 1 team in American football in Class A for a long time. And now Atco is making inroads on the boys and the girls side in soccer. Very, very cool stuff down there out of Pearson.
Yeah, really cool. And the thing to me that kind of stood out was their head coach, Ken Erickson. His story to me was interesting. They have a full, website profile of basically he's written a kind of an autobiography there of his philosophy and how he came up with it. And someone that grew up in a rougher area, was the first person in his family to graduate from high school, Air Force veteran, and now has this philosophy with his team that he expects, not just team, but also with his students in the classroom. No matter what their situation is, no matter what their background is, he says, hey, I came from a rough spot, and some of the people he's coaching have too. And he says, I expect you to adapt, to overcome, to learn, and then to succeed. And that, to me, seems like what drives that program, that philosophy of they've had plenty of tough tests. They've had a playoff run where maybe they weren't the team that was favored to get to the state championship, and maybe not the team that's favored to win, with GMC coming in, scoring all those goals that you heard, and I'm sure Bobby talked about yesterday. But for Atkinson County, the team that has overcome every obstacle here so far, I think it starts from the top with their coaching staff and overall with their squad. Another team that defensively 13 goals allowed on the season. So to me, you see some of these numbers, especially in AD2, where you have dominant teams and they just show their dominance. Their run and region play was ridiculous. You had 8-0 games, 10-0 games left and right. So it's clear that this team has separated themselves as one of the top in terms of talent here at the AD2 level. And to me, for GMC, I know you come in, you've got some players that have been here and have done that. And of course, the 100+ goal offense this season is something that will always immediately catch your eye. And guys like McCabe, who's had brothers that we've really enjoyed watching, and that whole family coming through GMC, it's just been stars. For Atkinson County, I think they've got what it takes to make this a scrappy game, a good game, and defensively able to hold their ground against maybe the best offense in this class.
So are you anticipating a grinder with the boys match coming up at 7:30 with Atco and GMC? Are you looking at something low scoring? Because we talk about all these goals traditionally. Yeah, these prolific offense, and ends up being like goalless or 1-0, something like that. Are you looking for a grinder in that one?
I don't think so. I think that's what Atkinson County wants it to be. I'm looking to Georgia Military College to be the team that comes out and establishes tempo. And I think if they can play the game and play at the tempo they want to play and take control there, then it won't be a grinder. And I'm kind of expecting more of Georgia GMC to come out in that way and control the tempo like we've seen them do a good bit this season, and be able to sit on the ball and push forward when they want to. So to me, that's what I'm looking for in terms of style of play. I think Atkinson County would like it to be a grinder, but I'm not sure if that's quite the way it'll turn out. Just, again, on paper expectations, I think right now we'll see. I think first half could be scoreless, but as we go throughout the game, I don't really expect this to end in like a 1-0 or something really low.
Ray Torres, head coach at Columbus, coming up in just a little bit, another couple of minutes here with Luke Winstel, who's going to be down at 5-star. And he's got his hands full with Aquinas Lake Oconee Academy, Atco, and GMC. I know that it's going to be like 9 gazillion degrees on that turf surface today down there at 5-star. Are you anticipating I guess, have you caught up with our buddy Ben Jones? Have you watched Ben at 13 WMAZ to get a weather report about anything involving afternoon showers? Welcome to the spring. Is it going to be 9 gazillion degrees with matching humidity, hydration breaks, anything like that? Is any word about that trickled out yet?
Well, the thing with Macon, of course, one thing with these games that we've seen in the past for the smaller classifications, big field, larger than the football field, wide field as well. And
no shade, and there's no shade, Luke.
None. Even, and here's the thing too, in the press box, they're like, oh, you guys have it made. Well, the sun is coming directly at us. So even in the press box, it's like, yeah, we've got some air, but like I have to wear sunscreen. I have people that like, you're indoors. Why are you wearing sunscreen? I'm like, guys, this is what it has to be.
Have you seen what's showing at us here?
We're the people that have it good. We're in the air. Like, we're inside windows and inside walls. And Macon, we're looking at kickoff time right around 90, somewhere 88, 89, 90 degrees. So that to me with this, and the turf's hot and the field's wide. Yes. And for some of these teams, especially smaller classifications, they're not quite used to exactly what they're going to see today. This will be a different look. And part of it too, no shade, I strongly advise teams to bring their own tent, pop a tent over the bench and kind of bend it down on the backside so you're not blocking anything. Strongly advise that, because these games, I've seen it where some of the maybe 2A and 1A games I've done in the past, where the last 10 minutes it's just dragging and it's tough. And sometimes it's whoever can come through that gets the win. But I think that will be a factor today for sure.
One more question for you, and it has to do with the fan support. What kind of a crowd are you anticipating with these matchups? Aquinas has to travel, obviously, from Augusta. Lake Oconee Academy, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. It's right around the corner. Then with Atco and GMC, I would imagine that they're going to have great fan support. I think that the biggest fan support of the day might come from Pearson.
That's one of the things, too, when we look at some of the small schools, and even things like looking ahead to Toombs County tomorrow, things that we saw for basketball with them, where it's like, who left the lights on? Everybody's coming. And I think with the small schools, that's something that we always hope for, something we expect. Sometimes we see, like, for example, some of the private schools from Atlanta maybe don't draw as much, but it seems like some of the biggest draws that we get at these neutral site games are often from the small town public school. Like, everybody's coming, everybody's supporting. It's not just friends and family. It's people that might just have casual interest or have a kid at the school that are showing up and supporting. So I think that is one of the things that we usually can expect for these types of games. And with Atkinson County, a team that still some unknowns that we're looking forward to seeing about tonight, but I think the community support is something that will be a known factor that we'll get.
At Luke Winstel on the 280-character app, paired with at Just Talks Footy. Jessica Charman, Luke Winstel calling the games today at 5-Star. You're coming back at 12:15 tomorrow to talk about what happened today, right?
Absolutely. And, of course, I'll have the 2A games as well, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, so we're going to cram a lot of stuff into 15 minutes with you tomorrow. So be safe, get hydrated, get your sunscreen, SPF 50 and above as you stare into the western sun. Have great calls with Jess. We'll catch up with you tomorrow, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, that's Luke Winstel. And we believe in the hot tag. We believe in the hot tag here at Soccer's in Session Live. So we're going to Columbus. And we're going to catch up with Coach Ray Torres. Coach, thanks for dropping by. This is what happens, you win. The tradition is set. So you're in the tradition stage now with us here on the show.
Yes, sir. And thank you for having me again, John. I'm excited to be here again and catch up since we last spoke.
Yep, and so that meant that you won and that you're playing in the last match of the year. So for those that didn't have the chance to catch up with you and see what happened in the state semifinal against Oconee County, break it down and let everybody know how you ended up on the upper side of the 1-0 win.
Yeah, so it was a tough game. I mean, we expected it. Oconee County's got an incredible program, incredible athletes. Amazing community. When we went up there and visited them in the regular season, they were, they hosted us and treated us very well. And so we knew it was going to be a tough match. And it was 0-0 all the way through first half, second half, and even into overtime. And we were able there to, just keep going, keep grinding and get the goal there towards the end and come out with the victory.
What are you telling your players at these various stages, knowing that this match was going to be what it was? I don't anticipate that there were a whole lot of secrets going in, considering that you've played them before and you probably can grab tape any place that you can. At halftime, when it's a grinder like this, what are you telling them about the first 40 minutes, and then how are you trying to get them ready for that next 40?
Yeah, well, you always have to kind of assess how the game is going and determine whether you're not in the lead because you're not doing something right, or they're doing something well, or it's just a matter of time. And in that case, we thought that it was a matter of time. We were happy with the way the boys were performing. We thought they were executing the game plan properly. We felt like we had, the legs to keep going. I didn't feel like we needed to make many changes. We were, wary of the fact that they might make changes. So we prepped the guys by telling them, hey, check it out. The first 10, 15 minutes, they're going to come out swinging and just try to, get through that phase and then reanalyze and see what changes they made, and just be ready from the sideline to hear for any changes that we're making. So that's kind of the message. You don't want to go in there and kind of preemptively make changes because you don't know if they're going to do the same thing or not.
What did you learn about yourself going into this second match from the first matchup where you played them? And it was a 4-1 game last time out, if I remember correctly. So what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself from that match that you could apply to the one in the state semifinal?
Yeah. So one thing was in that first match, we definitely didn't have the same squad. We were missing 4 players that were not there for various reasons. Some of them that were there were playing out of position. So that played a part in that game. Obviously, not taking anything away from Oconee County, they deserved to win that game. So we just went back and studied the tape and looked at where they were hurting us and made some personnel changes and adjusted tactically as well. So what we really learned is just we have weapons. We have weapons that we can use. We're lucky that we have guys that are comfortable playing in many different positions. And it's good to see that if you are missing 3 or 4 guys, the guys that you have on there can compete, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes, right, while the other guys catch their breath. So that was good for us to see from, both matches with Oconee County.
So then you get through 80 minutes this time around. Nothing's resolved. What are you saying to them after 80 minutes to push for that next 20?
It was about understanding that we were the underdogs going into that game. And the longer the game went on, we're still in the game. And, also it's about, we also try to talk a little bit about just the commitment to each other, right? And knowing that if we get 20 more minutes to play, then that in itself is a blessing because that's 20 more minutes that we can spend together. Some of these guys have been playing together for the rest of their lives. So really trying to take away that pressure of, man, like we can't put him away. We can't put him away. And more of like, we get to play more, and just reminding them that even though they're tired, they got to keep playing. They can't turn off for even a second. And it actually happened, in one of the plays, my midfielders kind of didn't track their guys like they're supposed to. They were a little bit out of position. They're tired, they're exhausted, and they get a shot on goal that could have ended the whole thing. My keeper had to come up big. So just, that's kind of the mindset that we have to go into in the last 20 minutes.
So then you end up getting the goal that makes the difference. What was it like to continue that message of we get to continue to play more? And now you're going to go into that final match where this is it for this group. I mean, you're going to have folks graduate, you're going to have folks cycle through, and they're going to go on their way to the next level. What was it like, and what has it been like since getting the win to remind them that they do get to play more one more time?
Yeah, I mean, it started with practice. When we went to practice yesterday, we talked about it. It's like we've never had this practice before because we've never been in this situation. So enjoy the practice. Just reflect a little bit, be mindful of the opportunity that we have to continue to practice and continue to play. The seniors know it's their last game. It's my last game here as the head of the program here. I'm moving on after this season. And so we're just really trying to keep our mind off of that necessarily, but also being aware of the fact that we get to continue to play for at least, one more game, and just spend time together. I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest motivator is that, we want to play, and we're actually using that to go into the game and understand that, if we have to play another 100 minutes, then that's fine. We're ready for it because that's just 20 more minutes that we get to spend together. If we have to go into PKs and all 11 guys have to take it, I think that eases off the pressure too, to continue to say, but we're running out of time. Well, we're gaining more time if that happens. Obviously we want to try to not go into overtime. We want to try to try to not go through that stress. But I think that if we have to, I think the boys are ready for it. We're all mentally prepared for it.
How do you keep, I guess, yourself from locking in on that idea of this is going to be my last match with this group in this program, all of those things? How difficult is it to compartmentalize that, put it over to the side, and focus on Hebron Christian?
Well, you just have to, focus on the moment. And that's something that we preach all the time. We want to be champions, right? But we talk about championship moments, and every moment that's in front of you, you have to treat it as if it's a championship moment. And so just staying busy, preparing for the match, taking care of logistics for that day, watching more film, the tactics, like all of those things are what's in the moment. And so that's what we focus on. That's what we enjoy. And then whenever the moment comes that the final whistle blows, then that's when we start to kind of allow ourselves to think about, this is our last time together kind of thing.
Another couple of minutes here with Ray Torres down in Columbus as they get ready for Hebron Christian. Ben Grassmyer in the on-deck circle in a couple of minutes as we'll discuss North Oconee with him. When it comes to Hebron Christian, top 25 in the state, depending on the poll, 15, 1 and 2, 4 double-digit goal scorers. What has study hall been like getting ready for Hebron Christian?
Just identifying those threats and not getting too crazy, trying to plug up every hole, because sometimes we get caught into we have to take care of everything that they can do. But the reality of it is we have to be good at what we do and then try to plug up as much as we can and then let the game play out. We know that every game, or really everything that we do in life, honestly, is about the things that we can control and the things that we can't. And we want to go into it making sure that we control those controllables and try to tip the balance in our favor so that those things that we can't control, don't put us out in this game or anything like that. So yeah, we study them, but kind of pick and choose our battles of what we're willing to kind of let go and what we feel like it's something that we really have to focus on.
Class AAA boys, Hebron Christian Columbus, 7:30 tomorrow at McEachern. And it is great to catch up with Coach Torres and find out what it's like to be in the last game of the year. How do you tune out the social media aspect of things? Because everybody, I'm sure, phones are blowing up. I'm sure everybody's social media is blowing up. I'm sure. Yeah, you've made it to a final. How do you take the phones away? How do you take the computers away? Or do you recognize it as the elephant in the room and go, yeah, we know it's there. We'll talk about it, but don't focus on it? How do you deal with all of the outside noise getting ready for this?
Well, we spin it a little bit because I want them to embrace that. And I tell them, everybody that's reaching out, that's somebody in your corner, right? Look at the support that you have. Look at the people that you're playing for. They're telling you this, they're telling you that. It's because they care about what you're doing, and they care about what you're doing because of the person that you are. The person that you are is what's gotten you to this position. So we kind of try to spin it in that way. So it creates more of, excitement and pride, and gives us something more to kind of play for. We're hoping to have a big crowd tonight or tomorrow night. And, we that's just inspiration for us. Sometimes we're okay letting ourselves down, but you don't want to let other people down. And so that's how we try to, funnel all of that energy.
Two-part question to wrap things up with you. What are you the most confident about your team? And what are you most concerned about when it comes to Hebron Christian?
Well, I'm most confident about just the team that we have in general. The boys, their talent, their winning mentality. I think they're going to come out and they're going to show that. And, obviously what we're most concerned about is just maybe it's a different team than what we're expecting. Maybe there is something that, they have up their sleeve that we didn't catch on film. And so obviously they've got some talented players, like you mentioned, guys in double digits with double-digit goals and speedy players. So it's just going to be a matter of imposing our game. And if they start imposing their game, just quickly readjusting and try to regain control.
Looking forward to it. Tomorrow, it's a bit of a road trip, not too bad for Coach Torres and Columbus as they make their way north. They're going to be heading to McEachern, 7:30 or a half hour after the completion of Oconee County and Wesleyan. It's the Class AAA boys final. Hebron Christian and Columbus, Coach Torres playing in the last match of the year, the last match you'll have there on campus. Thanks for dropping by Soccer's In Session Live. We'll be keeping an eye on you tomorrow over at McEachern.
Thank you. I also wanted to just give a shout out to ATCO. I'm a ATCO graduate, so I'll be up there tonight watching them play as well.
Oh,
And I know
big.
there's a lot of people going. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, really, this year's been great for me, obviously, and for that program. I was actually there before they even started the program, so I got to watch their first season. Had brothers, siblings that play, my siblings and cousins that played. So I know me and my friends and all the community we're gonna be up and making tonight.
That's going to be tremendous. Thanks for
Yeah,
dropping by. That's going to be strong with that coach tonight in GMC. Safe travels
absolutely.
today. Safe travels tomorrow. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. That's Coach Torres out of Columbus. I'm going to do something here before I bring in Coach Grassmyer. That's what happens when you don't properly hydrate. You have to clear your throat and hit the mute button. There's Ben Grassmyer. Coach, welcome in.
What's going on, John?
The hot tag continues, and we catch up with you as you get ready for your matchup. So I will ask you this. What are you the most confident about in your matchup at Duluth against Lovett, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and what concerns you the most about your opponent?
I guess most confident is we're full. We have full belief. That's where our team is right now, and we've had a couple games here. You may even throw out the word upset, but games that could have gone the other way that we came out on top. So we're in full belief right now. We're in a good place. We're playing well. The girls believe, and we're clicking at the right time. So I think that's where I'm most confident. Most I guess aware of what the other team is. They're solid. They're pacey. They're quick. They're aggressive. They're full sends everyone forward. They're just a solid team that we're going to have to deal with, and we're excited for the opportunity.
You ended up going up against the other team on West Paces Ferry in the state semifinal on the right-hand side. You prevented another battle of West Paces Ferry in the final between Lovett and Westminster. So for those that didn't get the chance to see what was going on at Fritz Orr Field, how did you come out with a 1-0 win?
Well, it was an overtime win. It was a pretty tight game. We made some changes to really push and go for it and try to be brave and push for the moment there. And we felt we created more of the opportunities than our opponent, and felt it was a game we had to win. And toward the end there, a player that you wouldn't have guessed to scored the goal, and she had an amazing moment that she'll remember forever, and she gave us that moment as a team as well.
You go through 80 minutes, nothing's resolved. What was the conversation like? You mentioned about being brave and taking advantage of the moment and the situation that's put in front of you. What was the conversation like after 80 minutes, getting ready for that next 10 and then the next 20?
Just to reinstate the belief that we believe in you as players, or as the coaches, we believe in you as players. And it was really a captain-led talk. I mean, the captains really pulled the team in before even the coaches kind of came in to the circle there, and we're kind of getting after the team. Like we don't lose a challenge. We don't lose anything here. We have to win this game. And I was really proud of the leadership of our team, because I mean, that's the best as a coach, when you can sit back and the talk's done for you. I mean, the captains led the way, and it was a beautiful moment for the team, and ended up leading into a goal right away after that talk. So it was fantastic.
What's it like for you and for your staff to sit there and it's like I have this envisioned in my head where, all right, you talk to your coaches, you get your talking points together, and then all of a sudden they've already started, and you're like, oh, okay, so we'll let them talk. What's it like to see a team develop to have that kind of a moment in that kind of a situation? What's it like to be able to sit there and watch them, having grown and matured, to take care of that kind of a moment themselves?
I mean, it's just, you sit back and you're just proud. I mean, it's one of those moments you kind of are like watching it from above, and you're just like, wow, this is special. These are two special girls leading a special team. And this is a special moment for them of stepping into a moment where they're needed. And it's just a great moment. And it's a moment that we're proud of. And that's all I can really say. It's just something we're so proud of. I'm proud of the culture of the group, proud of those two girls individually, but also just proud of the team and how they responded to that leadership, and how it was a full team, together unity moment and moving forward.
Lovett ranked number 5 nationally, depending on the poll. Number 4 in the state of Georgia, depending on the poll. How do you keep this group that has matured to this point and has problem solved and understands the volume and the value of what's going on? How do you not tell them about all those kinds of things, focus on yourself, knowing that, as I was talking to Coach Torres, it's the elephant in the room that there are going to be seniors that won't be a part of things. You're going up against a team that's nationally ranked. How do you take all that noise and either embrace it or put it off to the side?
For sure. I think we do a good job in film and just showing the other team's weaknesses and what we're really trying to do. I think we have a good rapport with all the girls in terms of we're going to create a game plan, and they do really well in believing in it and following it. And so I think that's what we focus on, and just pointing out that, they're high school girls. That's what they are. They're the same as you. There's no difference. We have 80 minutes to go out and compete against them, and we've got to show them that we can hang and we can battle with them the whole time. And with this group, it's nothing new. We had to play the best team, Westminster, last year. I don't know if they were undefeated at the time. I can't remember, but with some superstar talent in that senior class from last year. The year before was Marist. The year before that was Marist. It's every year where you're going to find yourself against the top team in the state at this moment, especially in 4A girls soccer with just, a lot of these private schools. But these girls we believe in ourselves, and whether we're the underdog or not, we know we can hang with them and just give them everything we can.
Numbers for Lovett, frankly, when you look at them, are staggering at some points. They've run the table 20-0. 148 goals, and so no one said there would be math on this show. But if my math is correct, that's 21. So that's 7. So 7. Okay, so averaging 7 goals a match, and they've only given up a total of 7 goals all season. You mentioned kind of what film study and homeroom and study hall have been like. What is it like? Without giving away state secrets unless you want to, what's it been like in study hall getting ready for this group, knowing how you've seen how they line up? What's study hall been like with going up against this bunch?
For sure. And we try to pick out more recent games, knowing things change throughout the season and where are they right now as a team. Then we try to pick out games that we can kind of think on paper are comparable to ourselves and try to really study those types of games. And so with that, we've seen games where they get scored on 3 times, and we've also seen games where they score 7 goals in a game. But it's picking out the moments of, okay, why did this goal happen? What's different about how we're set up and why we don't think this type of moment appears in our type of game. So it's really just trying to find weaknesses for our players to see and communicate a game plan, and then show them how the game plan could work in a game with clips that we try to cut the best we can, and then go out and start practicing it. And so it's really about painting the picture. I use that phrase a lot. Just we have to paint the picture for them. They can't step into this final or our girls can't step into the final seeing a picture that they've never seen before. So we try the best we can to paint the picture. And a lot of times the coaches are playing at practice to try to emulate certain things, and just trying to provide the picture for the girls so that they're prepared when they step into the game.
Wednesday, 5:00 kick, Lovett North Oconee at Duluth. Quad A girls title game between Lovett and North Oconee. So by that soundbite that you just gave me, I'm guessing that 2 of the games that you had on tape were Pace Academy and Holy Innocents, where they gave up 5 of the 7 goals this season. It's when you look at your group of players and you look at the seniors that are moving on. Let me ask you this. Couple more questions. When I do the American football during the fall over at Georgia Public, we have a segment that we refer to as Make That Kid an Offer. And it is for a player that is too whatever. They're overlooked, they're underappreciated, they're too small, they might be too slow. And yes, I'm using air quotes here. Is there a player or players that have been integral to your success this year that for whatever reason aren't getting any kind of look to the next level, or not getting the kind of looks you think that they deserve to the next level, that have been integral to your success? who would fall into that make that kid an offer category that has worked for you here in 24?
For sure. And did you say senior class or just kind of anybody?
You can go anybody. You can take it as long deep into the classes as you want.
We have a junior. Her name's Aubrey Patterson. She's a center back for us. She was really a dual sport basketball, soccer girl until last season, where basketball kind of competed with club soccer, and soccer folk know that club soccer is really, really important in the development of soccer. But she's just grown into an absolute leader for us. She's naturally athletic. She's got the agility of a quick step kind of basketball defending type player. And she's just fully gravitating into the leadership role that we've really needed her. She's brave, she's consistent, she's powerful, and she's one that really flies under the radar in the club world and in in the recruiting world. So she'll be looking to kind of join a bigger club here next year, but I would circle her name. And we have other players too, seniors that are uncommitted that have chosen not to. So that's why I didn't mention them. They've just said my heart's, going to college and pursuing something else. And that's fantastic. And we fully support that. But I would say Aubrey is the one that stands out for me.
Win over Luella in round number 1, win at Northwest Whitfield in round number 2, win at Stars Mill in round number 3, win at Westminster in round number 4 to get you to be the home game and the home team at Duluth. What's it been like to go to Luella, go to Tunnel Hill, go to Stars Mill, go to Westminster, and get all of this done the way that you have as a 2 seed?
It's been exciting and it's been new. The past few playoff runs that we've had, we've been at home a lot, fortunately. So it's been something to adjust to. I feel like we've got a really good routine. We try to leave really early in the day, and it's kind of funny. We've found a Panera, and then we find a Target, and we walk around Target, and that's what we do for about 40 minutes. And we do a little walk and stretch inside of a Target because it's too hot to do it outside. And so once we did it once and it worked, we just said, all right, rinse and repeat. Where's Panera? Panera's always next to a Target. And so we go next to Target. We walk into Target next to it, and we walk for 30 minutes after sitting on a bus for 2 hours or so, sometimes longer. It's just important to get moving and keep the legs fresh, and then we hop back on the bus and get to the field, and so we're not just right off the bus to play. So it's really a routine that we're used to right now, and we're gonna rinse and repeat and find a Target to walk around in. But just keep the legs fresh, get down there, not worry about traffic. I've made that mistake in the past where 3 years ago, we got to a restaurant and the systems were down. And so we got stuck there, and then we were late for warm up, and it really threw things off. So we try to get down there really early and just make sure everything feels good. And we're used to kind of sitting in the locker room for about 45 minutes, walk the field, come back in, last change, last stretch, last talk, and get rolling. So it's just about finding a routine, I think. And I think we found a good one.
Has it sunk in that this is going to be the last talk that you have with the seniors that are going to be a part of the roster?
Yeah, this morning we had practice, and that was kind of it. Like, it's the last time we say thank you to the U7 and at practice, and it's the last time they practice at school. It's the last time. Really, I mean, for me too. I'm stepping back next year. I'm having a boy, and I'm going to spend some more time at home. And my assistant coach is doing the same. He's actually taking a job elsewhere, and so it's a big change coming. And it was a lot of lasts this morning, and so just embracing it, enjoying it the best we can, and just being ready to give it everything.
Looking forward to it, and I know that the Target / Panera in and around Gwinnett Place Mall will be where you guys are going to be looking, unless you find something up 316.
Exactly.
I know that you're going to be using the Google machine and trying to figure out where the computer driving lady is going to take you for lunch and for your target tomorrow. Thanks for coming on the day before. I figured I would ask the day before for coaches instead of the day of, knowing how hectic things are. Enjoy the experience. Your last time this time around with what what you've been able to do there this season. It's going to be a great matchup. Once again, bat and lead off tomorrow at Duluth. Thanks for coming by. Soccer's in Session Live. We'll be keeping an eye on you and keep us posted on everything. Thanks for being a part of the show, and thanks for being a part of SDH this year with Matches of the Week too.
Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate all you do.
All right, that is Ben Grassmyer, and it's been an interesting show where we find out that the coaches for Columbus and for North Oconee, they're done after today. And finding out that that Ray Torres is an ATCO grad. So it's been an interesting day. And once again, let you know who the broadcast teams are. It is Luke Winstel, Jessica Charman at 5-star, with Aquinas Lake Oconee Academy at 5, ATCO and GMC at 7:30, and Ray Torres is working his way over from Columbus to Macon for that matchup. And then it's going to be Matteen Rad, Matteen the Dream, and Justin Hanover. They're going to be at McEachern for Social Circle and Paideia, and for Paideia and Atlanta International. Matteen and Luke will be joining us tomorrow. Maddie Cruz will probably be a part of the discussion as well, since Maddie will be paired with Luke as I sit here and plot the show out tomorrow. So Luke and Maddie, we're going to have the broadcast team on at 12:15. So Matteen will come on at noon. Luke and Maddie will come on at 12:15, and that way we'll open the door to coaches that might want to come on. So Luke and Maddie at 12:15 tomorrow, Matteen at 12 o'clock, and I'll send out the note to coaches to see if they would be remotely interested in dropping by for any kind of activity then as well. So they know. So we sent out notes to coaches. We'll see if any coaches drop by, and we'll see what it's going to look like on Wednesday. And then Thursday, obviously, we'll check and see if the 7A coaches want to drop by, or any of the 5s and the 6s want to drop by. But the notes have been placed with all the coaches. Once again, NFHS Network is where you go. It is Jess and Luke today from Macon. It is Matteen and Justin today from McEachern. 5 and 7:30, 5 and 7:30. Today is Class A D1 and D2. Class A D2 from Mercer, 5 and 7:30, or a half hour after the completion of match number 1. Aquinas Lake Oconee Academy on the girls' side, ATCO and GMC on the boys' side, Class A D2. Class A D1, Social Circle Paideia, Atlanta International. That's today. Tomorrow is the 3 sites going on at once. It is Mercer, McEachern, Duluth. Then Thursday, it is Duluth and McEachern. Friday, it is Duluth 7A all by themselves. Keep an eye out on the weather. I will say it that way. Keep an eye out for the weather. Because today at 5-star, it's going to be 9 gazillion degrees. There is no shade. Be prepared. The tailgating there in the past has been tremendous. It's been fun to see the tailgating going on under the shade trees over by the hotel past the baseball stadium. That's been fun. Parking under the shade when you can. Take your sunscreen. Wear protective clothing. I'm not kidding. McEachern, there is some shade. So if you are on the home side, if you sit on the home side, you've got shade as the sun passes by you in the west. If you sit on the visitor side, opposite the press box side, you're probably going to get sun more than the folks that are going to be on the press box side. So that's the sun situation. Still take protective clothing, take your SPF 50, take all your gear with you, make sure you're going to be okay. But once again, tomorrow it'll be discussing the 3 venues and what happened today. But like I said, we'll have Matteen the Dream on at noon. Luke and Maddie will be on at 12:15. And then we'll open the rest of the phone lines up for coaches. Anybody can drop in. But thanks to y'all for dropping in today for Soccer's In Session Live, brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente at KP Georgia on the 280-character app. At KP Georgia for Kaiser Permanente for all that is you. And thanks to Kaiser Permanente for being a great partner with us all season long and a great partner all year long, regardless of level that we're talking about the beautiful game. So it's been really fun to catch up with all of these coaches around the state, giving us their time, giving us their insight, letting us know what's going on in their brains as they're getting ready for the last matches of the year across the board. So very, very cool stuff from all of them today. Thanks for you for dropping by. We'll be back at it again in the morning for the morning show at 9:05. Tomorrow, 9:15, it's Tyler Pilgrim. We'll talk about Open Cup. And if the busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler, can join us at 10 o'clock, we'll talk about stuff going on across Major League Soccer with Dylan. It's also a Wall Pass Wednesday. So whatever's on your mind is whatever's on your mind. And then we'll be back at it again noon tomorrow to discuss what's going on here. Soccer is in session live. So once again, thanks to the Dream, thanks to Luke, thanks to Coach Torres, thanks to Coach Grassmyer, and thanks to you for hanging out with us for another go-round of Soccer's in Session Live. Back at it again with a morning show. Soccer's morning show, Soccer Down here, Daily Radio, 9:05 until 11, whenever, to get us ready for the high school stuff. Man, high school season is almost over. We're in the finals. Day 1 of 4 later this afternoon in Macon and at McEachern. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha plot, y'all. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We'll be back at it again before you know it. Enjoy the matchups today for the finals in Class A. Unless, of course, I hit the wrong button and I give the intro instead of the outro. Take 2.